Welcome one and all to episode 19 of Teatime. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I've got my co-host, James.
Hello!
And today we are talking about the most recent chapter of the Attack on Titan manga, chapter 136, Devote Your Hearts.
Hoo hoo hoo. Not gonna lie, when I read that chapter, I thought Levi was gonna die this
Ooh!
chapter. Just because the title, you know? I mean,
Yeah, we had Wings of Freedom where Hanji died, and then...
uh-huh.
Yeah, because both of those titles are kind of like just callbacks to like the Survey Corps era, kind of. Like, yeah. And yeah, Levi is kind of the only one left from the old Survey Corps, you know. Yeah, actually, that didn't cross my mind, but I definitely see why it would. Yeah, and so real quick before we start digging into the pages of this chapter, between the previous month's discussion and this month, we learned that the current ongoing volume is the final volume. Like, we got that 100%
Gasp.
announced, and we learned that April's chapter will be the last chapter, meaning that the last volume will have 5 chapters.
Yeah. That was kind of surprising, actually.
Yeah, to me as well. I'm guessing in that case, because I have a hard time thinking Isayama will write shorter chapters. So I imagine the last volume will be thicker than the average Attack on Titan volume, which, you know, is a nice... I think it's probably a nice thing.
Sure.
But I hadn't expected it. But yeah, I'm very, very excited now. Like, now we actually know when it will be over. And it's such a... It's a weird feeling, but also super exciting.
Right. It's so true. And, you know, we've been doing this podcast for more than a year now.
Yeah, about a year and a half now, I think.
A year and a half. Yeah, so it's... come April, that's it. Well, we have plans. I don't know why I'm talking about that now, but what I'm trying to say is, just feels a little surreal that we're coming towards the end, and the wait for another chapter soon be over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's gonna be so strange. Cause, man, I know we're going a little bit off here, but I felt for the past couple of years when I've been reading along with these chapters, it's been almost like I've measured months not by like when the months start and end, but like when the Attack on Titan chapter comes out.
Right.
Sort of. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's always the thing I'm looking forward to, kind of. Obviously, you know, there's other things happening too in life,
Of
which
course.
is probably a good thing. But the Attack on Titan chapters, like, they've been such a steady monthly thing. And yeah, it will definitely be weird not having that anymore soon. But anyway, let's get into the to the chapter here. Starts off pretty much right where last month's chapter ended, and my first impression was, or like the first thing I reacted to that I thought was a kind of nice thing to see here was just how concerned Reiner is for Gabby, and the fact that she came all the way here. He seems almost a little bit upset that she's here now, and I mean, understandably so.
Yeah. I mean, sure. They were expecting, you know, Kiyomi and Annie to watch over them,
Yeah.
and you know, it's like, what? You had one job.
Yeah.
What I like from that is how I never really thought from Reiner's position that he wanted to protect Gabby so much from the future that they had. It makes complete sense, but I had always pictured it from only really Falco's side of it all, how much he cared for Gabby and wanted to make sure she lived a long life. Um, Maybe that's a little strange to think so one-sided on it all, but I think that seeing that here, where they recall that promise, or at least Falco recalls that promise he made to Reiner, it shows
Yes.
that Reiner's motivation wasn't just to, you know, motivate a fellow comrade in Falco and, you know, be a good role model for them, but it was really because he wanted to save his cousin. His cousin? Is
Yeah.
that their relationship?
They're cousins. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a close cousin from the same future he had. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's just really nice to still see that promise being brought up here.
Yeah.
It's so close to the end.
Yeah, and to see that, both Reiner and Falco still have that strong desire to make sure
Mm-hmm.
Gabby, comes out on, in one piece and without any Titan curses at the end of this.
Right. Yeah.
They really want what's best for her.
Agreed. Before we continue, I think it's funny how in the very first page the people on Fort Salta bring up the fact, oh look, they're on a bird. So they've seen a plane, they've seen a bird. What are they gonna say, Superman now? Like, come on.
Oh, oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
So what is Reiner gonna fly through the air and with a cape and he's gonna take out Aaron's head?
I mean, I am still determined that Reiner will become a hero.
Yeah, I could see that. Just and the reason why is the Warhammer Titan and that trident she had or it had, uh,
Yeah.
and how it's to me it kind of resembles the trident that Helios had,
Yeah.
um, on that statue. So I don't know if that was just a comparison for last chapter, or if that's gonna have a something to play in the next or in next few chapters. I don't know, but anyway,
Right.
that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how that's all, like, yeah, brought together, sort of.
I like how Kiyomi and Yelena are still alive. Like they just kind of
Yeah.
show them in the boat there, because I don't know if you. I think we did talk about this, but we were kind of worried, like, would they be okay? I think we
Mm.
potentially thought there may have been safety boats, but we were we didn't know for sure. But it's kind of nice to
Yeah.
have this confirmation.
For sure to see that. And I imagine they probably got everyone into the safety boats even before the transformation
Oh
happened.
yeah,
So,
oh yeah,
they were just prepared just in case. And then obviously, the ship was very, very damaged from that, which makes sense. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know kind of what the status is over there. They're somewhere in the middle of the ocean, so I don't know what's gonna become of them right now. But
good
I
point.
imagine they'll be fine. Like, all things considered, their situation isn't that bad
No,
right
I
now.
mean, road to parody. That's about the only place you can call safe right at this point, I guess.
I guess so. Although for them, I'm not so sure. With the Jaegerists on the island, they wouldn't. Uh,
Who knows? I
who,
mean,
who knows?
they may not care at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think if anyone wasn't convinced that Annie cares for Armin, this chapter really solidifies that.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like, like I, I might even think it may have been a bit too much. Like how
Oh
she said,
yeah.
like, "Oh, how's Armin? No, how's Peak?" Like, it's like, I don't know. Is it too much, too on the nose, or what do you think?
I thought it was cute, to be honest, and a bit silly. I thought Annie, not silly in the bad sense, but silly in the endearing kind of sense. I
Mm,
thought Annie this chapter was surprisingly hilarious. I mean, she's kind of had these funny moments a lot this arc,
yeah.
ever since getting out of the crystal. And I don't know if that's a attempt to not only bring more lighthearted moments, but make her more likable to the readers, because we haven't seen her in such a long time.
Oh
But
yeah.
anyway, I, I get a sense in this chapter that yeah, she was making a lot more, or she was sillier and somewhat funny. But I also think, I don't know, it's fair that she's kind of always. I think the past few chapters where she was on the ship with Armin and them, she was still in denial. Like she didn't want people to, or she wasn't willing to say that she liked Armin, even when
Yeah.
people tried to call it out. So I think it's on point for her to be like, oh, how's Armin? I mean, Peak, you know, being kind
Yeah.
of being tsundere there, you know.
Right. Yeah. No,
But
you're right. You're right.
I also like how Mikasa knew automatically what she what she wanted to know.
Yeah, that's and Mikasa also cares more about Armin. Like that's something that Annie and Mikasa have in common right now is they both
That's
like
true.
desperately want to, or well, maybe not desperate, or else was somewhat desperately. They at least both of them they want to rescue Armin. They want to help Armin.
Hmm.
So it's nice to see these two characters have that shared goal right now. And throughout the whole chapter, I thought it was really nice to see their interactions and
Yeah,
cooperation.
I agree, and it's been something that's kind of been building up in this
Mm.
arc as well. It's really only been 2 or 3 chapters. You remember the one where they were around the campfire, Mikasa and Annie kind of got heated there, and
Yeah.
then they had the moment they were kind of giving love advice to each other, I suppose. In the hangar bay, and besides that, there may not be too many others between them besides this chapter.
Mm.
But those 3 moments, it's the first one obviously starts off tensious, and then it goes into one where it's a little more friendly conversation, and then this one it just feels like they've been friends for a long time, like they really understand each other,
Yeah.
and which is interesting. But my theory on that is, and this gets into romance, I think it's because they're both they're both people who have someone they love, but they're struggling to accept that.
Mm.
Uh, I think Annie's maybe even closer than Mikasa still at this point,
Oh.
to accepting. But you know, clearly Mikasa has some sort of feelings, um, that she's trying to understand about Eren, and and we'll get to this, but when they bring up the fact that they have to kill Eren, Mikasa is very shook up about that.
Yeah.
Which honestly they should have, maybe they saw that coming, but clearly it hit her hard. But then Annie just takes her by the neck and says, "Look, you don't have to focus on that. You
Hmm.
know, just help me with Armin, and you don't have to worry about that." And I think I took that 2 ways. One, maybe they wanted to make, or Annie thought it was just best for Mikasa in order to stop the rumbling, is to focus on something that she's not gonna be conflicted about. Saving Armin is something that she would always want to do.
Yeah.
Um, but my other thought was that, what if, because Annie understands what it's like to be in love, she knows that making the decision to want to kill someone that you like, or that kind of tough decision is not going to be easy on her, and maybe the other guys don't quite understand that or something. I don't know. And either way, what I guess what I'm trying to say is they're both they're both people in love, and they're kind of like the best wingmen for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It. I mean, and they do have a lot in common. They really do. So it is nice to see them interact in this kind of way. And
Hmm.
I thought Mikasa's like reactions, like her face expressions, especially in this early part here when they're talking on the back of Falco.
Hmm.
Uh,
Good band name, by the way.
yeah, yeah, I think you mentioned that as like a name of a book or something in one of the
A
previous
band, a
discussions.
band. Yeah,
Band
yeah,
was it band? Yeah,
yeah.
it is a very good band name. But I think also a pretty good like name of a novel.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like her like Mikasa's face expressions are really like I really enjoyed those like because she doesn't say I mean she does have lines and she does interact and talk but she is also like quiet in a lot of the panels where we see her face and
Hmm.
just following along with her like her hearing the others talking and she kind of realizes that what they're about to say isn't something that she wants to hear
Hmm.
regarding having to kill Aaron like it's kind of this inevitable thing that she knows deep down it has to happen but she's I guess she's been trying to not think about it or to suppress that but now it's time to face that now for real this time.
Well, maybe not quite. So,
Hmm?
because how am I gonna put this? So I think that most everybody in that group understands now that they need to kill Aaron, or at least
Mm,
that's what they feel like needs to be done.
yeah,
I'm unsure about Armin, but um, you know, I guess we can get to that later.
yeah,
Even Levi, guy who, so although he might not admit it, he cares about Aaron a lot,
yeah,
and you can see that in this chapter as well. He still wants to talk to him, probably give him a lecture, but or a beating, but he wants to talk to him.
yeah.
He cares about Aaron. They all do, except for Peek and Gabby. I don't think they really care about Aaron.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
but but they also know that at this point it seems killing Aaron's the only option, except Mikasa. And I think she is still struggling to accept that as reality, as the only way, or maybe she can't even process that. And so that's why Annie coming in and telling her not to think about that, is that good for her, or is that just a diversion from the inevitable?
I can see. Well, I actually thought of that as well. I think Annie have it's good in two ways for Annie to put it that way and for her to say that to Mikasa. Firstly, it's good for Mikasa to kind of to get a job to do, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't involve Aaron, and she
Yeah.
it will make it easier for her to focus on the mission, which is to save Armin for her. That's one side of it, and the other side of it is also that I think it's smart in the sense that, well, for the others, it's good that Mikasa isn't thinking about Eren as much. Does that make sense?
The last part I didn't quite follow. The other
So
thing was
like
good.
if like basically for as long as Mikasa keeps obsessing about Eren, she's going to be a hindrance to the rest of the alliance.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of my point, sort of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But giving her a job, like a different kind of job to do,
Right,
will keep her out of that side of the business, sort of.
right. I do see what you're saying, and the same thought came to my mind. However,
Mm.
there is no way uh, that there will not be an Aaron Mikasa confrontation of some sort.
Right, I'm with you
There,
there.
there, there is no way unless the story gets incredibly butchered, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, no.
Um,
Basically, what I meant is this is for the characters right now. Like, it's good in that sense, but things won't go as planned. They never do.
mm-hmm. Right.
So I do also think that somehow Mikasa, and I really hope it at least that Mikasa will get to some sort of interaction with Eren.
Mm-hmm. Part of me wonders if this is a hint towards a choice that Mikasa is going to have to make eventually, because this isn't the first time that they've thrown the question, are you willing to kill Mikasa or not
Oh.
Eren? uh, and that also is kind of a callback to the campfire chapter. I can never remember the chapter numbers.
Yeah, 127, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Where Annie was the one who puts out the question, "Are you willing to kill Eren?"
Mm.
That was Annie who brought that question up, and now no one really gave a solid answer, and that there was kind of a confrontation between Annie and Mikasa and that. Well, this
Yeah.
time when everyone else was saying they have to kill Eren, it wasn't Annie who was saying, "Yeah, duh." She was basically telling Mikasa that she doesn't have to, or well, she doesn't have to think about that. So
Right.
it's interesting to see that kind of dynamic growth change. The sides kind of flipped. I don't know if that has incredible meaning other than Annie understanding Mikasa better,
Mm.
but I don't know. I think that's interesting to compare.
Definitely.
Um, but going back, I guess it was kind of a tangent. Going back to what I what I was wondering,
Mm.
could this be hinting towards a conflict, a choice that Mikasa has later on, where she has to either kill Eren or let him go, or she has that opportunity. Um, I I wouldn't put it past Isayama to be hinting at that. But I also wonder if he's trying to make the reader, at least those who like Mikasa and like Eren, not necessarily together, but just like their characters, uh, he's trying to make them feel some dread and, or just some dread towards the possibility of her killing Eren, um, before before actually revealing a less tragic ending. Maybe one that doesn't involve lopping off his head. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now I think it's pointing towards Mikasa having to make that decision.
That would definitely be interesting, and it would kind of, well, I think it would resemble Levi's decision to rescue Erwin or not.
Yeah.
Uh, like in that regard, it could be a nice like rhyme.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely a good possibility. I'm not like really sure on anything right now though, to be honest.
No,
But
I
I think it's
understand. Yeah.
definitely a good possibility. Interesting to think about.
Another thing, kind of from this scene,
Hmm?
when they're more or less explaining the situation to Annie.
Yeah.
Annie brings up the fact that Mikasa, your childhood friends are always getting kidnapped, or they love getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
Isn't that a reference to a previous chapter where Annie says that to Mikasa?
I'm not sure if Annie has said that to Mikasa before, because the first time any of Mikasa's friends got kidnapped, it was Eren getting kidnapped by Annie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Annie herself was the one kidnapping. Uh, so maybe it's a callback to that. Although
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, it's kind of true. Like, your friends are always getting kidnapped. But I do like her determination here, where she says, "I'll get him back." It's like, you get your man, Annie. You get him. I don't know. I really like her determination in this chapter. I really liked Annie in this chapter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Although I think there was a lot of characters to love this chapter,
Oh yeah,
but I agree. Annie was great.
totally, totally.
Yes. So would you like to move on to Gabby's speculation theory about the centipede?
Yes, but just briefly before that, I just
Uh
want to
huh.
comment on this what I assume is a Warhammer Titan that literally has like a medieval helmet on.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know. Oh, I don't know if you're planning on talking about that later, but that.
No, I hadn't actually. Although there are some interesting titans there. There's a beast titan that looks like a bunny also in the background there. That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
uh,
Anyway, I don't know. It's just some of these designs are so interesting.
yeah, I
Kind of
love them.
like breaking our understanding of what Titans could be and whatnot. And yeah,
Yeah,
I love them too.
it's awesome. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, now that we can talk about Gabby.
Yes, the centipede speculation. I've seen a lot of people feeling like it doesn't make sense for Gabby to make that point.
I'm kind of on board with those people.
Okay, because I'm fine with this personally.
Okay.
I thought it was a perfectly, I thought it was reasonable for her to come up with that speculation. She is a warrior candidate, arguably the best one out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
She would know, maybe not things about like obviously like like primeval Titan stuff. Obviously, she wouldn't know like all of that kind of stuff, but she does still have I think plenty of knowledge about Titans just in general. So with that, like that's one thing, and she was definitely the one who had the best view of that,
Mm-hmm.
um, of that spine centipede thing happening. No one else had as good of a view of it as she did, and the centipede, due to her having seen it more clearly than anyone else did, it looks very much like Eren's current Titan form, although
Mm-hmm.
a different size, obviously. But Eren's current Titan form looks a lot like that, and right now Eren's Titan is presumably the full potential of the founding Titan. So to draw that connection, between that spine thing that looks a lot like the full potential of the founding titan, as that thing being the founding titan or the essence of the founding titan in some capacity, I don't think that's too much of a stretch for Gabby to make it all. And that's my case on that.
Good case, good case. I mean, it's not ruining the story for me at all. It never did, and I'm fine. I'm fine with it. It's just, it does seem a little far-fetched for her to come to that conclusion. I understand she was the best one with that view, so I don't doubt that she saw the centipede at all. I mean, that's fine. But for her to not only say it's the founding titan, which, I mean, okay, yeah, she understands the founding titan, that's fine. But then to go as far as to say it's the true power of the titans, like, why? How would you even come to that conclusion? Marleyan scientists or Eldian scientists that were under Marley control, I don't think they ever got that far. They figured, it's actually a parasite. Like, they never, we never heard anything about that.
True.
And why would they tell Gabby? I mean, she's only 9 years old, right?
Right. No. I don't think anyone.
Or is she
even 9? I don't think even the top Titan scientists in Marley knew of the centipede. I don't think.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's not crazy or it just totally unbelievable, you know. But I'm kind of like,
right.
It does seem a little off coming from her. But at the same time, Big Brain Armin is not there. So, or Hanji, or someone who has some substantial Titan knowledge that would be able to put that together. So,
I'm not sure if anyone would have had a better chance than anyone else, though, in this specific situation, because no one would have really any previous knowledge about like that ancient types of Titan stuff, right? I don't think Armin would have had a better chance.
It would have been more plausible. Well, I think he would, because it would have been more plausible for someone as creative and quick-witted as Armin to be able to come up with theories or ideas of what it could be, and kind of brainstorm it that way. I mean, if you remember, he basically took Peak's image of what Eren's Titan looked like, drew it, and figured out, okay, well, Zeke is probably around here, or maybe Zeke is here, or something. Like they were able to figure it out by talking and.
No, they didn't figure anything out.
Well, I mean,
like
they
Zeke, it wasn't even there at all, in the end.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, sure, but they didn't get any answers that are confirmed to be true.
But I don't see how that matters, like, because he still thought about it. He still brainstormed.
Yeah, he brainstormed for sure, but we didn't know if the results were like gave any sort of accurate answers.
What I'm saying is Armin could have come to that same conclusion.
He could have, yes, I absolutely, but I think Gabby
just as much as Gabby.
Yeah, right. Gabby is also really quick-witted and creative. She really is.
She is creative. She is creative.
The first chapter she ever appeared.
Right. Yeah. She's creative in that one, but that's like tactical smarts. It's a little different. I guess Armin is pretty tactical. I don't know. I just think that to think a 9-year-old child to be able to.
No, she's 12.
Come up, or 12, excuse me. See, that's what I was trying to ask earlier, and you didn't answer me, so I was like, I guess 9 was
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So 12, yeah, so a 12-year-old child. I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem. It seems like a bit of a jump to go from, that must be the founding titan. No, wait, that's the source of all titans.
Okay, I can agree there. It's that specific thing. That is the source of the nature of the power, whatever. Like the true nature of the
true
power.
Nature of the power.
Yeah.
The true nature of the power of the titans. Wow,
that's a mouthful. Yeah. But yeah, I can agree. It's a bit of a stretch. I'm not going to fight you too hard on that specific part of it.
I was going too long on it anyway.
But I do think that specific thing would have probably felt like a stretch coming from anybody, is at least my opinion on that.
Yeah, well, if anybody had said that there's a centipede coming from Aaron's head, and it was, and it wasn't Gabby who said it, yeah, it definitely would have been a stretch. So I'm glad that Gabby was the one to bring it up because she did, besides
Mm.
Zeke, have the best view of that.
Oh yeah, Zeke has, had a very good view.
I
Um,
don't know if you remember this, by the way.
hmm?
Uh, when we talked about that chapter, it was 119. Is that chapter?
No, where like the one where he first lost his head, or the one where we see the spine the first time?
Oh, oh,
Because
that's right.
he lost his
119 is lost his head. 120 is when we see the first spine. So
no
one,
no
oh,
122 I
oh, that's
think.
right. Yeah, it was later on. My bad. My bad. You're right. Or it actually maybe was
I, th-
122.
I think
Maybe it was.
122 is when we get to see
Either
the
way,
spine.
it's that
Mm.
it's that same volume.
Uh huh.
Um, and that I in our discussion I brought up the fact I thought it was weird that there was blood on the tip
Mm-hmm.
of the Titan, and I was like trying to figure that out. And then later
Yeah.
on, I don't know if I said this on the podcast or in one of my rants, my wall text
Uh huh.
of my thoughts. I brought up the fact that I wondered if that Aaron's spine thing was actually the centipede, and that they needed to kill that. And so it's interesting to get that kind of confirmation now. Not confirmation, but at least they're thinking the same thing. Maybe that's what we need to destroy in order to stop all this.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just theorizing, but I think it's safe to say that that's going to be their goal from now on.
Absolutely. It makes sense. And but what I thought was interesting, because last time we saw the spine connecting to Aaron's head like that, we saw it more sort of from Zeke's perspective, like the other angle kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're seeing it from the side, and we actually see that the spine is actually leaving Aaron's body. It's actually jumping out of him,
Mm-hmm.
and Aaron's torso and legs presumably are just left there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we couldn't really see that from the other angle before, but now we get to see that, and so presumably Aaron right now is most likely just the head and the centipede spine, and nothing else. Around the Titan, of course he has the big Titan around him, of course, but yeah. Um, so his body is very messed up, presumably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's interesting. And I actually started doing some research on um, a type of centipede that I think may be sort of an inspiration to this for this.
Okay.
I woke up really early today and I just started doing research on centipedes. I don't know. I don't know what my life is sometimes,
Fun.
but but yeah, I mean, I had fun. So apparently there is a a centipede in native to Japan and also other parts in Eastern Asia. In Japan, they call it mukade, and it's like pretty poisonous and is apparently like unusually aggressive for centipedes. Like it will attack and try to eat like pretty much anything of its size, or yeah, like I don't know. I don't know too much about centipedes, but from
Hmm.
my understanding, this one is like unusually aggressive and sort of scary, dangerous. It is also one of the largest centipedes in the world. It can be like
Hmm.
become up to 20 centimeters, which I think is about 8 inches or so. And in Japan, from my research at least, from what I was able to tell, in Japan, this centipede seems to be some sort of symbol of evil,
Hmm.
uh, which is pretty interesting in this instance, like relating it to Attack on Titan. And on top of that, in Japanese folklore, there is a mythological yokai called uh, Omukade. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
big centipede.
I've heard of that one.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool. So, and that one is presumably inspired by the real Mukade, like the real centipede that I was just talking about. But this is a mythological, like titanic centipede that could like wrap its body like 7 times around a mountain, and like huge. And obviously, Centipede Titan is basically that huge right now. Um, and yeah, I just feel like that that was really interesting, and I think it could absolutely have been an inspiration for Isayama, at least with the designs here and with the centipede being this apparently being this crucial right now.
Mm-hmm. One, I really like how the centipede is being brought back.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a sign that Eren and Ymir are trying to get it out, so they're trying to destroy it in order to destroy the Titan powers. I don't know if we can say that's the true motivation at this point at
Mm.
all, but I am glad that it's back into the story
Mm.
in some capacity. I don't need to know where it came from
No.
per se. I mean, if Isayama feels like he has the time, I guess. But I think the point is that we're destroying the Titan powers at the roots, and cutting at cutting at that. So I think it gives more meaning to showing Ymir fall into the tree and get the centipede spine parasite thing attached to her.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I like. And
Right.
then the second thing is, have you ever played Sekiro by
Yes.
chance?
Yes, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
The monkey, right?
Yeah, I've thought about this too.
So, well, I mean, just basically, there's a boss in Sekiro where it's a giant ape, and you fight it. It's pretty tough, but you kill it. You're like, okay, great. Typical Dark Souls combat kind of a thing. Okay, awesome. And then it
Yeah.
gets back up after you kill it. Uh, Apparently, it's like there's a centipede in the head or in the neck or something like that that controls it. So
Yeah.
it's undead. And I think that maybe the same yokai thing. And kudos to King's Grave on Discord. He was the one that brought this up to me. I had seen that boss before, but I didn't put together that it was the centipede that was controlling um, the monkey or something like that. Um, and yeah, so I just thought it was interesting that there was that sort of kind of lore. I don't know if it's actually in Japanese lore, but
Yeah.
From Software made the game, so
Hmm.
maybe there is some sort of parasitic centipede thing in Japanese folklore.
Yeah, I actually did some research into that as well. And like wasn't able to find that sort of like centipedes with that kind of well functions or abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in Japanese folklore, I wasn't able to find that specifically.
Okay,
The one I did find was that gigantic centipede.
gotcha.
Um, but like for this, like for centipedes to kind of be inside of beings and granting them sort of well supernatural powers, like in Sekiro and in Attack on Titan,
Mm-hmm.
presumably. Um, I wasn't able to find anything like that. Although there absolutely might it definitely might exist. I wasn't able to
Mm-hmm.
find anything like that.
Right, totally.
But
So
it's very
I don't know.
interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Another person I was talking to, Coffee Life.
Mm.
I was on. Well, we were both on a You Hear Big Girls podcast with Coffee Life, right?
We were,
At one
yes.
point. Uh, anyway, she was talking to me about what could just about the centipede, this parasite thing, and how parasites when they reproduce. I mean, their main goal is just to reproduce.
Mm.
They're not malicious. Their one derivative is to gain enough nutrients to reproduce, and that may be all that there is to this little guy. It's just well, it's not really little, but
Yeah.
this parasite where um, its need to reproduce, uh, it I don't know, it just extended its branch in that way, its line in that way, and in order to stop it, you have to stop it at the roots, and maybe that means cutting the Yggdrasil tree down, and
Yeah.
maybe that can be considered the centipede itself. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many questions about that right now. I
right,
feel.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah. Because I do feel like there has to be some kind of gimmick as to how to kill it. Um, when I read about the Omukade, the Titanic huge centipede, apparently the only weakness of it, because its shell is like so hard, like no weapons normally can penetrate it, so it's like invulnerable to everything pretty much. But its one weakness apparently is human saliva, which
Oh, really?
so if you coat your weapons with saliva, like your sword or your arrows, like, and you attack it with that, uh, it becomes very vulnerable, presumably.
Huh.
I'm not saying that Attack on Titan is going to use that, but I'm just saying like there is probably some sort of gimmick, like some trick, like some Achilles heel, maybe, to this creature potentially.
Yeah. It would be kind of boring if it was just cut it and that's it. But I mean,
Yeah.
maybe he'll make it interesting though. Like
Yeah. True.
it's
True.
it's not going to be that easy just to cut it. I don't know. We don't even know where Aaron's head is still.
Right. Yeah. We don't know the whereabouts exactly. But I was also going to mention the actual like Mukade, like the real world centipedes. They are also like incredibly hard to kill. Like they can withstand, I think, like boiling water to at least to a degree, and and also like flames, unless it's like a constant, like really like intense thing. They can withstand like a lot of different conditions.
Yikes.
Pretty crazy.
Centipedes scared me, man.
Yeah, I read like so much about them, and I was like, oof, I'm kind of glad I don't live there, like where those exist. That said, I do still want to go back and visit. Anyway,
I don't think I ever saw giant centipedes in Japan.
lucky. Me neither.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I was lucky.
I read a blog about someone who had gone like hunting for them and found one like on the floor in some supermarket like randomly. Like and everyone just panicked. He just shouted like "Mukade!" and everyone just freaked out.
Oh my gosh.
And then this person apparently like went close to take a photo, and the centipede just like charged toward him. Just so scary. But yeah.
Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward.
Oh my god. That is- Oh boy. Yeah. Yep. So that's the centipede talk for this month, I guess. And yeah, the chapter moves on to the scene at the fort.
Did you think this chapter was necessary?
This scene.
Not this chapter. This scene. This
I'm like,
scene.
wait, I thought you liked this chapter.
No, this scene. Do you think this
Yeah.
scene was necessary?
So I was mostly confused by it the first time I read it, but I also talked to Kingsgrave actually,
Oh, okay.
and he pointed out one thing that I thought was pretty interesting about this scene that I think is could be important to take with us from it, and it's the fact that, and I've said this before many times, that or potentially, if the Titan curse and everything related to Titans, Titan powers in general, everything like that, even if all of that would just cease to exist, I don't think that would solve conflicts between Eldians and non-Eldians. I think
Yeah.
that kind of
Not-
racism is too, deeply ingrained
Ingrained.
into the cultures, and because in the real world that we live in, there's very serious and very bad racism, and that's even without these supernatural threats or whatever you want to call it,
Totally.
So I don't think and I've said that before, that I don't think ending the Titans will solve that conflict. And I thought, and so in this scene, and so this was Kingsgrave who pointed it out to me, was that the fact that the Eldians are still treated with so much hostility, even after they have removed their armbands. They are no longer marked as Eldians, but they're still treated just as poorly, and that kind of representing what could be, even if the Titans cease to exist and the Eldians biologically in every sense is identical to any other human, hostility toward them won't stop. And I think maybe that's what this scene is about. And I think it's a very realistic and good point if it is.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this is kind of a smokes and mirrors kind of a thing, where in the sense that there is conflict here, and I'm glad he's showing that there is conflict, but
Hmm.
it's gonna be resolved. Like the bang 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 thing, maybe he shot, maybe shot on the ground, maybe he shot
Yeah.
the hands of the people. I don't think anything's gonna come out of this besides, guys, hug it out. It's gonna be okay, or something like that. Um, that said, I do think it's important that we establish, or that he acknowledges the fact that, you know, people's hearts aren't going to be changed automatically, especially people
Hmm.
who are not in leadership positions. They're going to be thinking, "Hey, you're part of the enemy. Kill him." Uh,
Hmm.
kind of a mindset as we see here.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's going to take leaders to recognize the wrongs of the past and move towards the future in order to um, have there be significant change in racism towards each other, and I think there will.
Yeah. Although I got a little bit disappointed in Secretary Mueller. You know, he spent the past two chapters talking about, oh, everything's gonna be, we're gonna repent and we're gonna be so good to everyone. Just let us survive, blah blah blah. And now in this chapter, he's raising a gun against these Eldians, and I don't know. Maybe it's not what it seems to be. I'm
I'm
hoping it's not
I'm
what it seems to
I'm
be.
90% positive it is not what it
Yeah.
seems to
It's
be.
just, boom, boom, boom. What's up with that? You know?
hmm I I think it's like I said. I think he either shot at the ground or he maybe shot
Why
at his
would he?
own men or something.
Ooh.
He's trying to say, "Hey guys, calm down," or "This is not the time," or whatever.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but maybe I'm too optimistic. But I feel like this is a somewhat common trope.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of when the rumbling had just recently started, and Aaron had sent out the message to all Eldians about the rumbling starting, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
we had Annie's dad in the internment zone, and it was basically a similar kind of scene where it was kind of chaotic and a lot of guns pointing and hostility between people, and then it just kind of cuts kind of at the climax of it,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
then this is like the same thing again, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It is interesting how similar that is. I mean, just watch. Isayama is gonna throw us a curveball and freaking Lionheart dies. That I would be upset about that if
yeah.
Lionheart dies. I don't know, man.
That would be sad. Like for Annie, like especially, I would be
Yeah.
sad for Annie.
Yeah.
Very.
Anyway, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the scene. I think it's good to um, see that conflict, and I totally agree with what you're saying about if the Titan powers are gone, yeah, the racism won't stop, and I'm pretty sure I've said that
Mm,
in the past as well. So
yeah. Yup. But yeah, then the Alliance makes their charge and they split up.
I think it's so cool. The Warhammers have bows. I don't know. It's just really cool. Like,
That was very nice.
and Falco is cool. This is all so cool,
Yeah,
man.
it is. It is good action. I really enjoyed the action in this chapter. And one of my favorite action moments is when Reiner just straight up decapitates Warhammer Titan with his
Oh
like a
yeah.
slice of his fingers. Ah,
Whoo!
that was badass.
So great. So great.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to see more.
But peak
Um,
though.
Peak was the MVP this time. Come on. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, I know you said Peak was the MVP last time. I think what Peak did this time was even more, yeah, impressive and just
Yeah.
you know amazing to see because for the longest time, Peak was more. I mean, she was artillery, obviously, and she's had some key shots on the Beast Titan and other moments.
Mm.
But it was more like she was support in various cases.
Yeah.
But here we see her, you know, biting people's heads off or necks off, and her endurance is insane.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
If you weren't a Peak fan before, you being general, I mean, she might have won some people over with this one.
I absolutely think so. And, you know, this actually sort of reminded me, brief Naruto spoilers from like early tuning and exams. We had, there was a really cool scene where Rock Lee is fighting Gaara, I think. And he has these weights on his legs, and he just takes them off, and they're like heavy as fuck. He just drops them to the ground, and it's like obvious, like they are super heavy. And suddenly he starts moving like incredibly fast, and he's like so nimble and fast and everything. This kind of reminded me of that, because usually Peak, you know, she's burdened by this Panzer, you know, shell and people sitting on her and like cannons and everything. But now it's just she and her Titan, and she is free to move however she pleases, and she is incredibly nimble. Mm-hmm. So it was so awesome to see that.
She just has so many great lines in these past 2 chapters. She's so cool, and it's also really funny because she's like giving her monologue, and she's like, "So Jean, you don't need to worry about me. You ignore me, just go blow." Oh.
Yeah. That is good. Oh,
so good. So funny. I love it.
Yeah.
Can I be dumb? Can I just be a little stupid here?
Do it.
I mean, look, Jean's whole thing is that he likes long black hair, right?
Ah, yeah.
And that was, you're like, oh, this is coming up. Okay. I prepared this. I'm prepared for this. Look, all I'm saying is Mikasa doesn't show much interest in Jean.
Yeah.
But you know, Peak, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know which way she swings. But the point is, she has long black hair, and
she absolutely does.
If they get out of this alive, I mean, hey, we're both Eldian people. Like, what? I don't know. All I'm saying is, this is not the first time that they've had interaction, but they've not had much interaction.
Yeah.
The first time was when John went in Peak's mouth, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. So.
I mean, hey, that's closer than they ever got with Mikasa. Just, you know. But I don't like. This was really impressive to. I mean, Peak go out there and just be amazing like that. I mean, I'd be impressed. Obviously, maybe that'd have to be after the fact because we got to blow up this bomb. But I don't know. So to me, this is just like a potential spark in what could be a ship. I'm not saying the ship is sailing. I'm not even saying the ship is docked. I'm just saying the ship it has blueprints. It has a blueprint.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Cool.
I know Reiner's there, but I don't know what Reiner's mental state and everything is. So just, you know, don't know if he's gonna be alive. But yeah.
He will live. Reiner will live.
Yeah. I guess on that, I think the fact that they haven't seen their parents yet, Annie, Reiner, and Peak, because Mr. Finger is with them, right? Or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think he is.
The fact they haven't seen their families yet, I think they're gonna live. They have. I mean, of the 3, Peak is still a potential, but I think that they need to see their families again in order for there to be some closure.
Precisely.
So I think they're safe.
Indeed. So the funniest moment to me, and probably to a lot of people in this chapter, was when Mikasa was trying to show Annie which Titan it was that took Armin.
Oh, so like, good.
That one. Which one? That one. Where?
It's so amazing. Well,
really funny.
This was us in the last podcast. Last month's podcast. This is totally us because we were like, wait, is that a cart? No, that's a beast titan. No, it's a jaw titan.
Yeah.
We were even talking. We were even trying to figure out if it was a pig or a horse or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
I guess I was
absolutely.
kind of close to the pig. Well, at least they say pig. Okapi or
Yeah,
okapi is not exactly a
yeah.
pig.
It's
So
supposedly it's more closely related to a giraffe, from what I
yeah,
understood.
maybe.
But yeah, it's interesting. And then Annie making fun of Mikasa for calling it like a pig or whatever. I thought that was really funny too.
So is that it? So her keeping or her saying the pig over and over again is her making fun of Mikasa.
That's how I interpreted it anyway, because
Oh, okay.
Mikasa said called it a pig or whatever first, and then Annie explains that like it's an okapi. And
Mm.
then, and after Annie explains that, she refers to it at a later point as a pig or whatever. And I can only see that as her kind of mocking or teasing Mikasa for having called it that before. It's the only way I
Okay,
can see that personally.
that explains it a lot better. I had no idea. I was like, why
Ah,
did she like at first I was even confused on who was able to figure out it was a okapi. Uh, so I was like, what? Like I don't understand what's going on because Annie kept calling it a pig, but now it makes more sense that yeah she's just messing with Mikasa for not knowing what a okapi is.
I think
And
so.
then
Yeah.
later on in the chapter, she calls it an okapi.
Oh
I
yeah,
like that.
yeah, right.
She's
Mikasa
she's
finally learned
learning.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, Mikasa's learning.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. And we get to see Levi sort of reflecting on his role in all of this and thinking about his comrades that he's lost.
Mm.
That was really touching, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was touching as well. Do you think this is a death flag for him?
Obviously, I thought of it, although I'm still probably gonna stick to what I've been saying, that Levi is gonna survive to the end.
Okay.
I just feel like he is cursed to be, to survive while the rest of his friends
Mm.
might die. I like because that's always been the thing with him, and I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like, well, why stop now?
I agree that it is. It does seem like it would be his ultimate fate to not die in battle like everyone else, but outlive everybody. That being said, it's hard. It's hard to ignore these signs. Maybe he's trying to put us off or something.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. It's hard to say. I I do wonder. So,
Hmm. Do you think it's a death flag?
well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
If you would have to say yes or no, though.
if I had to say yes or no, I say yes. I think I say yes.
Cool. Cool.
I hate being wrong though, so
Hey,
I'm
hey,
probably gonna be wrong.
but if you say yes and I say no, at least one of us will be right.
Yeah, good. We're one half of the same people, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, let's say that. We are Titan Tea Time.
We are tied into that. um, I do like the connection, bringing back the the choice that he made with about Irvin and Armin. I this has been going on ever since that was made, and it's impactful not only to the fan base but for the Attack on Titan world. Or maybe I should switch that. Not only impactful for the Attack on Titan, but the fan base as well. I mean, there's people who
Right.
are arguing to this day about who should have survived that.
Yeah.
And still, even when they're in the depths of despair, supposedly, and Armin is trapped by a Titan's mouth, for all they know,
Yeah.
it's Levi still believes he made the right decision in entrusting the future to Armin.
Hmm.
Um, so I well, and to go along with that, Armin still has those anxiety issues or those thoughts where I shouldn't have been the one that survives. He's still struggling with that. So I
Hmm.
think him bringing that up or Isayama bringing that up and making sure that that's fresh in our minds is important for Armin's arc going forward. And I do think in the end we'll see that it was important for Armin to live on, in my opinion.
Yes, I think absolutely, definitely. Because I feel like this whole, like, ever since we got back to Armin after the time skip, he's been struggling with that pretty much constantly, and
Mm-hmm.
it has to pay off with something. It must. Like, there's no way it won't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was nice to, like, first of all, to see Levi, or well, to see, I guess, Hajime Isayama through Levi kind of make that clear, and also for Isayama to use Levi as yet another kind of um, messenger to make it clear that Irvin and the rest of the Survey Corps would not have supported this rumbling.
Hmm.
Just to kind of hammer that in, just to make sure no one, I guess, or at least that's how I felt it. Like with this, is like everyone at this point should know that they wouldn't have supported the rumbling because the rumbling is morally bad.
Genocide.
Genocide, yeah.
I mean, it goes back to that chapter, um, right around where the rumbling, after the rumbling has started, Jean, Mikasa, and Hanji are talking,
Mm.
and they all have a vision or whatever. They see, I don't know. They're talking about the people who died before, and
Uh-huh.
I think Hanji mentions that they probably would not have supported this, this genocide, if you will.
Precisely, yeah. So we've seen it through Hanji, and now we're seeing it through Levi as well.
Right. And so I like that that kind of comparison, um, and not only that, but a world without Titans was much more innocent and I ideal than um, what Aaron is doing right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I thought it was nice to get that sort of a little bit clearer, even though it was probably relatively clear even before. But yeah, I liked
Mm-hmm.
it anyway. But yeah, getting back into the action a bit, the combo move we see with Annie's female titan and Mikasa ODM
Woo!
gear swinging, flinging was super cool. I really
Awesome.
enjoyed that. And it really, I mean, maybe a lot of people. I haven't actually talked about this specific thing with others yet, but it reminded me of the female Titan arc where Annie grabs a soldier's ODM gear strings and just spins him around and
Mm-hmm.
killing him that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, very different situations, but Annie basically grabbing the string of an ODM gear and flinging somebody is the similarity here, but it's just obviously so different.
So if Peak is my MVP for this chapter,
Yeah.
Annie and Mikasa win the award for best teamwork.
Oh
They,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
not only while they were on the bird, but also when they were in battle, like they were killing it, knocking it out of the park. It was awesome to see
absolutely,
them go.
100%. Yeah. Anything more here before we move on to Armin?
No, I think we're good. I mean, the stakes are high.
They are. So we're getting into Armin again. And his situation has changed since the last chapter, it seems, because now he's looking at himself. He's looking at a body of himself that's seemingly lifeless. Uh, so that's a bit weird.
Yeah, this is some psychedelic stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. I kind of part of me expected to see Bertold again. I think it was also because of hearing so many Bertolt fans talking about, yeah, he's back, or like, woo, we're finally gonna get more, or something like that. And so maybe I was like, oh wow, okay, so maybe I should expect Bertolt, but he's not here. Um, but I did not expect to see Armin looking at his own almost lifeless corpse. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. I really liked this part of the scene actually.
mm,
I think, well, so we see Armin is shown to have the same really bad self-esteem that he's had, or that he had like in the beginning of the story. Really, he
Yeah.
has he we see very clearly that he's still struggling with basically the exact same thing, the feeling of feeling useless and like not enough to his friends and to the expectations that are on him. And that makes perfect sense. I'm not saying that, he shouldn't feel that way, because it makes sense given, all of the developments that's been happening, well,
Mm-hmm.
ever since the Return to Shiganshin arc, for him at least.
Mm-hmm.
But he does really, really, really struggle with that. And I don't know, this might just be one of my favorite Armin moments ever,
Mm.
just based on how deeply it moved me, to see him really, well, to see his internal thoughts like that. I don't know. It touched me more than I expected it would.
Yeah. No, I think it is pretty powerful, in an emotional kind of uh, sad kind of way. I mean, I think we all struggle. Not maybe not everybody, but there's sometimes we struggle with maybe self-deprecation and um, putting ourselves down, or there's parts of ourselves that we hate. And I mean, I think Armin is feeling pretty desperate here, but I think some of his true feelings are really coming out. I mean,
Yeah,
especially where he says, "I hate you. I always have."
yeah,
You know, it's
damn.
like he's having an important conversation with himself that he needed to have a long time ago. Um, it's kind of weird to say, but sometimes it feels good to get these emotions out,
Yeah,
and maybe this would be better for him going forward, and he'll be able to accept himself better. But
I
as
definitely hope so.
as I was saying last time, it is an issue of coming to accept yourself and who you are, and what you bring to the table, and that's what Armin struggles with.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the same time, like, I absolutely, absolutely hope he'll be able to kind of get over this, but it's hard, and I know he's been struggling with this ever since, well, ever since the very beginning of the story, where, when the Colossal Titan appeared and everyone freaked out, he blamed himself for not sticking with Eren and Mikasa. Obviously, he actually acted very well there, because he went and fetched Hannes so that Hannes could help Armin and Mikasa,
Mm,
because Armin himself couldn't, because he was, well, too weak and just a kid. So he's always had the brains, but I think a lot of his like low self esteem comes from maybe his like physical abilities, or well, but at this point, in this arc, since the timescape, also his mental capabilities. I imagine, just because he's beating himself up over the fact that he hasn't been able to think of a solution to this whole situation.
mm-hmm.
And hey, we get the return of the double trader, the Wonder Boy, Mr. Daddy Issues. The monkey is
Hey,
back.
the monk, he's back.
Yes. I was strangely happy just to see him. I didn't like, because I mean, I said before, I sort of thought he was done. I thought he was dead, and maybe he is. I mean, well, no, not dead. This is just a strange situation right now, where we learn that both Armin and Zeke were presumably both eaten by Emir's titans,
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like that's basically all we know right now about them. But like, to what extent are they alive? Sort of.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's. I mean, I think we're at this point where in the next chapter we could get a lot of questions answered. But
Yes.
I guess before we go into that, uh, yeah, seeing Zeke back is not only great for Zeke fans, but I think it's good for the story because
Hmm.
while I do think a lot of his plot points were tied up in uh, the vision and him having that, I use this word a lot, closure with his dad.
Yeah.
Uh, that was so important for his character. I do think there's more he can offer, and it would have been a shame to just end him with, you know, Aaron transforming into the founding. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we're getting this. I'm a little surprised it's Armin, not because of last chapter. Um, last chapter, I remember you were saying that, or you mentioned that. Oh hey, he's gonna go into paths, and I was like, no, he's in the Titan's mouth. And I guess we're both right, but I'll say
Yeah.
you're more right than I was.
Ah.
Um,
Well,
I
I don't think I specifically said paths.
oh okay.
Um I thought he was going to some other kind of plane, um, aka not physically in the mouth of the Titan. But I
Mm,
don't think I specifically said paths, although I probably thought of something pathsy regardless. But yeah, no. But I think yeah, we were both sort of right, since he is his physical body has still got to be in that
in the
Okapi Titan.
Okapi.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to still be there. So you were absolutely right about that, and I was a little bit right also with him, sort of being transported into another place
Yeah,
as well. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, that was very interesting. And just this scene right now, I'm just like, this is the part of the story that I'm the most curious about right now. Like excited to see what's gonna happen is probably right here actually, because there's just so much unknown here.
Do you think Zeke is doing anything with that sand, or is he just playing with it? Just kind of, well, I'm bored, might as well do something.
I had a thought that what if he's like, well, going under the assumption that Emir creates all of the Titans out of sand in there, which is probably the
Mm-hmm.
case. What if he's trying to build a Titan to help stop the rumbling or something?
That could
Although,
be interesting.
although like based on the progress he's made, I don't really see that being like going
They,
anywhere.
I mean, what they've got an eternity or something. I don't know.
True. Yeah,
The
time does
time
pass like
passes. Yeah,
much
molasses.
much slower in there, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. There's a lot of questions with this in general, but as you said, I also think a lot of answers could come from this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm very excited for this, and I'm also glad to see Zeke in this hairstyle, because this is my favorite hairstyle of Zeke's. Uh, so yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the long haired Zeke that we had in the Path chapters with Aaron.
Ah, yeah, I agree with that. Now is this style Zeke? Was this what he looked like when he caught Aaron's head, or did he have the long hair back then? Do you remember?
No, yeah, this is what he looked like when he caught Aaron's head. I think
Got it.
he's looked like this in the real world ever since the Marley arc and
Okay,
onwards.
gotcha.
I think he had slightly longer hair than this in the Return to Shiganshina arc, although I could be mistaken on that.
Mm, gotcha. What are your thoughts on it being Armin and Zeke? I just want to hear your thoughts. Like,
Ah,
why are they the ones to talk to each other? I mean, I don't know. I guess they're both bright-minded individuals,
they are.
but I don't know. They never interacted before. I mean, Zeke doesn't even know his name. He just, oh, hello, Aaron's best friend or Aaron's friend,
Yeah.
which is funny.
It's
But
possible. It's possible he knows his name. Um,
oh, you think? Oh, okay,
in fact, I think he should know Armin's name, just because Armin is such a close person to Aaron, and Zeke has obviously been caring very deeply for Aaron.
oh, you're
Um,
right. He probably, now that I think about, well, I don't
yeah,
know.
I feel like it would make sense for him to know the name of his brother's best friend.
Yeah,
But
true.
regardless, I think it's going to be very interesting to see these two guys maybe hatch some sort of plan or come up with some sort of solution to something, some ideas, brainstorming. Although at the same time, I wonder how well they would be able to kind of cooperate,
Hmm.
just based on the fact that they've never really been like working closely together, and there's been betrayal. Like Zeke betrayed the Paradisians and all that. So there's some bad blood in a way between them, even though it's nothing like personal between the two, like
Right.
the characters. So maybe they'll be able to cooperate and work well together. Um, I think my best guess right now, and I guess this moves into predictions,
Okay.
is that Zeke maybe knowing more now about how paths work, and having maybe been there for
Ah.
a while, he could pass some sort of information on to Armin, that Armin can do something with,
Mm-hmm.
with or without Zeke.
That's a good guess. Mm.
So that's gonna be my prediction for this scene, I think.
Yeah, that's a really good prediction. Because I was struggling to think, what's the merits of having these two meet.
Hmm.
But that's a really good point. Either way, I agree that uh, Zeke will. I'm wondering if Zeke will have a moment where he thinks about his wish to go with the euthanization.
Hmm.
I wonder if that'll be brought up at all, and maybe he'll ask Armin's thoughts on that, and maybe that will coax Zeke to want to help him, but based on Armin's answer potentially.
I mean,
Or
absolutely. I look forward to
Mhm.
all sorts of like just interactions and dialogues between these two.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Uh, Either way, I think Armin will end up with some sort of plan to um, stop Aaron if possible. I also think the Colossal Titan will appear next chapter. I know I said that for last month's predictions, but that was before I knew there was a fifth chapter to this volume.
Right.
Knowing that there's another chapter, I feel okay with there not being a Colossal Titan here, and
Hmm.
and this still would be. I mean, anyway, yeah, like I think having him in the next chapter, 2 chapters before the end, is a good place to have that happen. I could be wrong, but I feel like the last 2 chapters have to be devoted to other things besides Armin transforming. But
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I
I,
could be wrong
I
on
I
that.
think that no, I think that makes sense. Though it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's hard to
I'm
tell.
gonna say that I think the next chapter is gonna pick up pretty much exactly where this chapter left off, with this scene specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that may make sense because, well, it was such a short bit here we got with Armin and Zeke together. It was just like, yeah, just 2 pages, and I think it would make sense to just pick up right here, have whatever interaction is going to happen between those two, and then we move back into the real world action, and maybe Armin is going to be there with him by that point, as a colossal titan potentially. Obviously, we can't know for sure, and whatever happens with
Right,
him and Zeke in there,
right.
but uh,
I think uh, i- with them chasing the Okapi, they're gonna capture it, and Annie or Mikasa would be the ones to break Armin out. Um, Obviously, time is runs different paths, so I think Armin will have plenty of time to talk to Zeke before that happens.
yeah.
But I think Armin will get out not because he transforms into the Colossal, but because Annie and Mikasa are able to get him out. Although a thought just came to me just now. This is off the cuff.
Uh-huh.
What if, what if Armin and Zeke go to play? Okay, Zeke, you're gonna build. We're gonna build my colossal titan together.
Oh.
I don't know how that would work. I mean, how, why, or what? Surely Ymir would have to be the one to do it. But whatever. I mean, that would be hilarious.
That would
Or
be
or
fun.
or kind of, yeah, fun. Fun. That's a better word. That would be fun. Um, but no, I'm still thinking that it'll be Annie and Mikasa that break Armin out next chapter.
Mm. About that, it's it we see, like, the last we see of the Okapi Titan, it's running off toward Bertolt's Colossal Titan,
Hmm.
and I had this weird idea that, oh, what if the Okapi Titan is gonna like escape into Bertolt's Colossal Titan, and
Mm.
like so or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's too crazy. Although at this point, what like nothing's too crazy, I guess. But um, I think the fact that they mentioned like it seemed like it was somehow significant that it was moving toward Bertolt's Colossal Titan. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know, it's a big Titan, it's a big threat, so I guess
Big
that makes sense
landmark.
regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe for the Bertolt fans, maybe we'll get something more related to Bertolt himself in relation to his Titan over there
Okay.
in next chapter, maybe. And whether it's going to eat the Okapi Titan or not, I don't know. But yeah, I just think there's going to be something there. And I also wonder, why is there only one Colossal Titan here? Why did Emir only summon one Colossal Titan?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe it would have been too cumbersome to have any more.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. That's a good question. Over on Aaron's head side,
Yes.
I don't think it'll just be Peek and Jean. I mean, Reiner is there, but he's kind of in the background. I think Reiner will come
He'll catch
and
up, yeah.
he'll catch up and obviously have play in point. I Part of me still thinks he's gonna grab that trident with the from the Warhammer, or there'll be a Warhammer Reiner fight or Armored Titan fight.
Didn't
Uh,
he already defeat that Warhammer? Although I guess
oh
there
that
could just come a new one.
that was the one he beat.
I think
Here, I'm going back. I thought it was a
so.
different one, but
I,
I could
I,
be
I could be
wrong.
wrong, but that's what my memory is telling
Let's
me
find
anyway.
out.
Oh no, sorry, it was Peak who defeated that Warhammer Titan.
Oh, it was the Peak. It was the Peak. It was Peak who defeated that Warhammer. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Cool. Uh, I guess I did already get my Warhammer versus Armored Titan. Anyway, not that Armored Titan or not that Warhammer Titan, but a
Ah.
different one. I guess so.
Right.
I'll take that. Uh, yeah, I guess we don't see what happened. Do we see what happens to the trident?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
But
so maybe it's out of play at this point.
yeah, maybe. But my my thoughts on that end of the battle is that, well, Gabby said that they would, like, after they had dropped off Mikasa, Annie, and Connie, they would
Mm-hmm.
return and back up Jean and Reiner over there and Peak. So presumably Falco is going to fly back over to where Reiner and Jean and Peak are. So we're going to have some more flying action over there potentially.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what Levi's gonna be able to do, but at least and I don't know what Gabby's gonna be able to do either, because Levi made a point and said that the rifle that she has won't do much good against these Titans anyway. So I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
what either of them can do from Falco's back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Levi is not in the best shape.
No.
What if somehow they get him to detonate the bomb? That kind of be a
Yeah.
long way to go. I don't know, but because
Maybe.
he even to this point he kind of laments the fact that he wasn't able to do or to complete Irvin's last order to
Yeah.
kill Zeke.
Mhm.
So, I mean, do you think that? I guess this goes back to our Levi talk. Do you think he'll be able? Is there still a chance he can finish that order?
I don't know. I don't think so, and I don't think I want him to.
Okay.
So, I mean, first of all, we don't know exactly, or presumably Zeke's physical body is in the mouth or the stomach of some Titan somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
I I I think that's a good guess.
because he said he was eaten by Emir, just like
Mm-hmm.
Armin. So,
Right.
uh, man, I don't know. Zeke seems pretty harmless right now. I mean, he's in path, so maybe he's got something, but I don't know. I feel like it would be senseless for Levi to kill him at this point.
Yeah, it may. It could be. This would be kind of sad. It could be a after the battle kind of a thing, and if Zeke is still able to survive, and along with Levi, maybe they have a confrontation
Yeah,
afterwards, and it goes one way or the other. Maybe that would be more relevant to the story.
maybe. Yeah.
It's interesting. I personally think I use this analogy in the Discord. It feels like a game of Jenga right now, where
Oh,
the 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 blocks have been stacked on each other for a long time, and it's at the point where the Jenga stack is kind of going back and forth each side. One more piece removed, and it'll all fall down. I think
yeah.
this next chapter could be that piece removed, where we get a lot of story revelation. Probably not everything, because he's got to pace ourselves, but it could be really big in terms of
Yeah.
reveals.
That would be amazing. Cause the funny thing, or like, I kind of expected like when we like getting further into the story, and getting this close to the end. Like a couple months back, we didn't know how close we were to the end, but we knew we were close to the end. And at that point, I was like, okay, I guess Isayama probably won't give us too many like new questions at this point, because he's already got enough like stuff to tie up anyway. But no, he just keeps giving us new questions, new riddles, mysteries,
That's
even to
true.
this chapter. And it's like the final volume that we're on has like 2 chapters in, still a bunch of new questions. So yeah, it's gotta start like answering those, right?
At some point, we got to get a little more answers. I mean,
Yeah.
something that Isayama is. You could either say he's really good at, or he just tends to do is, and you know this, he stretches out things. And he basically waits the last possible moment until he reveals it, and he's always having that carrot over the reader's head,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's multiple carrots in different distances from the reader.
Yeah.
And I mean, Annie was that way. The basement was that way. So it seems he really likes that story device
Yeah.
where the secret is, it seems close, but it's so far away.
Yeah.
But it does feel like to me that we are getting to the point where we can practically grab the carrot at this point. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to say for sure, and I know you can't really predict it exactly, but I have this feeling this next chapter is going to be big.
Yeah, and I feel it too. I mean, there's only 3 more chapters left, so I feel like they all have to be impactful
Right.
in some way, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
I
gonna be it's
agree.
gonna be big.
If we get another chapter like this, I mean, I'll enjoy it, but I'll also be a little worried that there will
Probably,
be
yeah.
some not enough time to tie it all up. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
But in Isayama we trust.
Yeah, indeed.
And I do still. I really do.
Yeah, I do as well. Uh, he's I feel like he has a plan in action.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, and I know a lot of fans have been kind of falling off the hype wagon throughout this arc, sort of, but I'm still just as excited every month for the Attack on Titan chapters. I
Same, same.
they always entertain me and amaze me.
I was rereading some of the past volumes because I was just wanted to catch up, I guess, and I realized how better the story flows when you're not waiting for a chapter a month.
Totally,
You
definitely.
remember it so much better when you read it by the volume. I feel like
Yeah,
you're able to remember what this character was feeling, what they were saying, um, and I think in some of in our discussions, I I failed to remember. Oh, this is what Jean said. Oh, this is
mm,
what they were doing behind the scenes here, and I wasn't putting it all together. But reading it chapter by chapter, especially this last arc, it helped me understand character motivations and appreciate some characters a little more. So I guess it's more of
Definitely.
a testament to read the volumes.
Yeah, really, really do. I've also noticed it helps so much.
Maybe some people's disappointment is because they are waiting a month between chapters, but once they let it settle and maybe go back and read it by the volume, they'll
Hmm.
be more open-minded. Well, maybe open-minded is the wrong word, but they'll be happier with it, more satisfied with it.
Yeah, I hope so. Definitely hope so. And I hope people like those who are dissatisfied will give it that chance to reread it, kind of in
Totally.
a not as spread out as, once a month.
Hmm.
So yeah, because it really helps. And we had the couple months back, several months back now, we had the Marley arc reread discussion where I think especially for you because you hadn't read it in that kind
Yeah,
of way before, it sounded really like that really opened your eyes to the Marley arc, and I thought
it
that
really
was
did.
really cool.
Hmm.
So, and yeah, I think it's the same thing with the whole story really.
I feel like I just need to quickly say the obligatory Historia. We know, we know,
We haven't forgotten her.
we haven't forgotten her. We got we. I'm still saying the last two chapters she'll appear in one of those, and
Mm,
even though we've extended to 5 chapters this volume, I'm still thinking the last two. So not
I
this
agree.
next chapter, but March and April,
Yeah,
March or April, maybe just April. I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, at this point, man, it's sad to say, but I've kind of started losing faith a little bit in like her character getting like a lot of time for
Mm,
the remainder of the story. That said, though, I have not given up hope on her character getting the focus that she needs and deserves. That I still believe that's gonna come, and that could be the very last chapter. But it might not be like a really long piece. It might just be just enough to get her point of view and on everything, which I just
gotcha,
I really want that.
gotcha. Yeah, I'm the same. I do want just one more thing with her at the very least.
Hmm.
It's not. I mean, I'm not dying for it, and I will be okay if it doesn't happen. Um, but I think it would be a good way to end her character arc or just her story.
And Isayama hasn't forgotten about her.
Not at
That
all.
like that much is clear. So, and just the fact that she appeared for, even though it was just one page, she did appear relatively recently in the beginning of 2 chapters ago, I think it was. And yeah, so she will appear. There's going to be some significance with the childbirth, which I hope will be satisfactory to the readers, and
Hmm.
along with that, perhaps we'll get her uh, mindset on everything.
Yeah, I do think he has something planned for her.
Yeah, he's got it.
Whether it's her mindset or just a moment with her baby that I would like to see. But
Mm.
anyway, like you said, in Isayama we trust. So
Yes.
one final question I want to ask you about this is how do you feel about not seeing Aaron in a bit in a while? I mean, we saw Aaron's Titan face for a brief
Mm.
panel when Falco was diving,
Yeah.
but that's about it. Uh, are you disappointed we haven't seen him yet, or is this just another build up?
No, I'm honestly like I feel like we know kind of enough about Aaron at this point. I don't feel like there is anything we need from him during the battle, like at
Mm-hmm.
all. Aaron has made his opinion and thoughts and his plans clear at this up until now. He told his friends that there isn't anything they can do to stop him unless they fight him and defeat him. And we got the backstory to how and to see how much he well, how heavy this burden is for him. And like, so we understand why he's doing it. We understand how hard it is for him to do it, but at the same time we understand why he's doing it, and that this is what he thinks is the best solution. Like, I don't have any questions about Aaron right now, at least not that I can think of. And so I think it makes sense for him to just appear maybe briefly after the whole action.
I actually do agree with that last point. Uh, he doesn't need to be in this battle
Hmm.
per se until they pull him out or decapitate him or whatever they do.
Yeah.
However, I do have questions about Aaron. Why he treated Armin and Mikasa like he did at the table scene. Why he asked Mikasa, what am I to you, back in that flashback scene.
True.
Why he felt like this was the only way. I don't think we completely know his reason for why it was the only way. We know that he thinks it's the only way, but why was it? And I don't know. I feel like there's just some character moments and interactions with Mikasa and Armin that need to happen that I can't say he's done, or I don't want that. However, I don't think that this is the appropriate time or place for it. I think that's going to happen, like Historia, in the second to last or the last chapter.
Yeah.
Last chapter
Yeah.
might be too late, so maybe the second to last.
Yeah, I'm also thinking something like that. And I agree. There needs to be some sort of interaction. At least I really hope there will be,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in some way. But yeah, it might be very brief, and it might not be for a while.
2 months.
2 months. Yeah, let it happen in 2 months.
uh, but in terms of not seeing Aaron in the past few chapters, I don't have an issue with it because it's build up. We're
Right.
building up to this great big moment that, especially since we now know the deadline, April,
Hmm.
we know when to at least I feel like we know when to expect when we're gonna have that moment with Aaron again, but or Aaron, Mikasa. I think, but
Right.
uh, that's my
Oh,
thinking.
it feels so weird. 3 more chapters, really? Like I still haven't really like grasped that. But
Oh,
yeah.
in terms of this chapter, I think I really enjoyed it. This had a great mix of comedy, action, mystery, some a bit of revelation for the cast. Like they were able to figure out the centipede through Gabby, and um, there's even a bit of, I think, some romance in terms of Annie and
Hmm.
Armin. But having all those things together, I think made for a really really solid chapter, especially the comedy. Last chapter was really good, and I remember I gave it like a 9. I even almost said 10. I was definitely overshooting it. Looking back, it's a great chapter. I think I give it an 8
Sweet.
instead. And this one, I probably give it an 8 as well, but I put it higher than this one, just because
Right.
the comedy in this one. I didn't finish my point. Sorry. Last chapter there it was more like despair and how are we supposed to get out this? This is insane. And then Annie and Falco come in, swoop in to save the day. I guess Gabby's there too. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's great. And then we still get that action and them fighting against Ymir, but now there's this comedy element that was basically absent. So I really liked it.
Hmm.
Did you I feel like you like the comedy as well, right?
Absolutely, definitely, or at least especially the trying to find like point out the Titan.
Yeah.
That really got me.
So amazing. So amazing. Well, that one and the one where Peek's giving her speech and then Jean just runs forward anyway and she's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I love that. Cracks me up.
Yeah.
Um I've seen some people say that the comedy is misplaced or it shouldn't be there. Some people are just taking it too seriously, I think. I mean, granted, this is genocide we're talking about, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, even in the face of death, there can still be these funny interactions. I don't think everything has to be melodramatic all the time. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like these jokes that are funny to us readers aren't necessarily funny to the characters in the moment, you know.
That's true. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Peak
yeah.
going, "Oh," like in the moment that's just
Right.
for her it's just an oh, like she just notices what John is doing. For us it's funny
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
kind of her being interrupted sort of.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
just because it's comedy doesn't mean it's silly or them joking, you know.
Right. They're not making light of the situation.
No.
They're just in the moment.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
Isayama handles it and deals with it really well.
Very well.
And if
I
he's
agree.
gonna do a dark comedy or a black comedy after he finishes his Attack on Titan, I'm all for that.
Oh, let's do it. Let's go. Oh man.
So yeah, if it's that or if it's the onsen, I don't really know.
Well,
But
you know, if the Attack on High School things
hmm
at the end of the volumes are any indication, I think you do a pretty great job.
hmm
I mean, even just based on his Attack on Titan characters, he's able to create this comedic, kind of dark comedic world in
yeah,
a high school. I think he's got it, man. He knows what he's doing.
absolutely.
Not that he needs me to tell him, but
Well, maybe he does. Maybe him hearing you say that was everything he needed to like get over that edge.
oh, thank you for listening, Isayama. We trust
We
you.
really appreciate it. Please get in touch with us if you want to guest on our
Oh my
podcast.
gosh,
Because
that would be
obviously you hear this. This is really funny. My mom. My mom knows I'm doing this podcast, obviously, but she doesn't
Uh-huh.
know too much about it. She doesn't read the manga or anything, of course. But she was like, "But dude, Petter, you should invite the writer of the story onto your podcast." And I'm like, "Mom, it doesn't work like that." But she
Oh
was
my
like,
word.
she was really serious about it too. Like, no, do it. Like, he would be really happy to. He would probably be really happy to be invited on
Yeah.
by a fan. Which I mean, I don't know, but like, no, it doesn't. That's not how it works.
Do you
Sadly.
want to, Mom? Do you want to like donate some money to the cause? We can get Isayama. I'm sure it only costs a few thousand, money.
Yep, a few thousand money.
A few thousand, but I want to say dollar, but you guys don't go by dollars, and Isayama goes by yen. So
Right.
anyway, money,
Yeah. Yeah.
currency.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that's probably it for the episode, though, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm good.
And so, yeah, thank you so much for listening to this. Please let us know your thoughts on our takes and on the chapter in general in the comments. You can find James's other stuff outside of this channel on Nintensity on YouTube, where he covers Nintendo topics, discussions, and analysis on news and stuff. And you can find me on YouTube and SoundCloud as Leon Morris, where I share all of the music that I produce. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next month for chapter 137. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, sorry, my stomach is making noises.
Oh.
That was really loud.
Oh.